Hey everyone, welcome to a Hearthstone video. I haven't really done a discussion type video really on the Wild channel yet, more just because I've been kind of getting into Wild and I didn't think my opinions were really that validated until I really gave it a good chance. Now, I've only been playing on Wild for a bit. I hit Legend the 2 months I've been playing it kind of by accident. And either whether I was not Legend or I was just getting into Legend, I did notice something in Wild that you don't really see a lot in standard Hearthstone, which is the amount of a specific class in this format. Now, I usually am someone who don't complain, but something about Wild has really been bothering me recently. And it has not been because I think that Priest is boring or Priest is frustrating. Now, I will say Big Priest is extremely frustrating depending on what deck you are, but not nearly as bad as the APM mage I've been going against. Now, I don't think Secret Mage is nearly as big of a problem as APM mage because Secret Mage feels like it can be beat. Sometimes they get that really good opener, which can be really frustrating, but feels like Secret Mage has its decks that it just loses to, right? And even decks that don't feel super great, as long as you play for tempo and you force the secrets out and you force them to use their burn on, anything but your face, it's usually okay. APM mage, though, for those of you who are not aware, use Sorcerer's Apprentice, which usually is always like a problematic card for some reason in Hearthstone. It always seems to be an issue with Hearthstone. Flamewaker, which is really good with Sorcerer's Apprentice because you have a bunch of discounted spells. Some of them aren't going to cost 0. Plus, a lot of the mage spells now in the game really give you just a lot of resources for some reason. Like Magic Trick's a good example of that, right? Just paying a card that will be free to get another card that's potentially free. And because there's so much variety in spells in Wild now, there's a good chance you get 0 mana spells off everything you discover, right? But this deck gets even better with Incanter's Flow. Now, I think Incanter's Flow is a card that in standard needs to be looked at as well at the moment. This is a card that, especially if played on turn 2, is probably the worst feeling card ever. I remember Prince Kaliseth, which was that 2 mana 2/2. If you had no other 2s in your deck, you give all your minions +1/+1, which was extremely good. But this is like the same idea, but with double the possibilities because this is a common compared to a legendary. And I actually think Incanter's Flow is so much better because rather than getting +1/+1, which feels not as great anymore, like it used to be insane, right? Discounting your spell, if you put this on 2, arguably by like 24 mana, so that's really good. Like if I told you there's a card that just discounts your deck by 24 mana, it doesn't even have to say reduces spells to your deck, you'd probably play that thing, right? 2 mana is probably there because if you don't get it early enough, you probably won't play it. Like if it's this card's 3 mana, maybe it won't be played, but there has to be a serious look in this card, or maybe the whole package here, but mainly this card. Now, when this card was in standard, it did allow for some shenanigans and it did allow for some interesting combos, but it was not nearly enough for me to be like, yo, I really don't like this card. Please get it out of here. Because the times where Sorcerer's Apprentice was good was so few and far that it didn't really bother me every time I saw it. Sometimes it'd get a little too much and you'd be like, okay, I don't want to play Hearthstone anymore. But on average, it was kind of interesting to let Sorcerer's Apprentice be this really cool combo card that Mage got. And if, in my honest, opinion, I really think Sorcerer's Apprentice is a cool card. Now, the problem is that this card in Incanter's Flow is allowing a deck like Flamewaker Mage to be a real card deck. Now, is Flamewaker Mage or APM Mage a problem? I guess it really depends on who you ask, but to me, I hate it. I think there's nothing worse in Hearthstone than losing a game that is almost impossible to win, I think is what I want to say. Because if they get Incanters, they have a Flamewaker, and they have a Sorcerer's Apprentice by turn 5, you're probably dying that turn. And if you're dying on turn 5 to a deck that plays literally everything from hand, that seems to be somewhat of a problem. Like at least Big Priest or Secret Mage has to develop some minions to, really kill you, or Big Priest needs to, wait till later in the game, or Reno Priest needs to wait till later in the game to kill you. It gives you time to actually do something. This deck, if they just get the absolute nuts, kills you. And I don't know if that's a problem. I mainly more did this video because I'm thinking about if they should change something. If I had to change one thing here, just make Sorcerer's Apprentice say your spells cost 1 less, but they can't be less than 0, and maybe that's fixed. I don't know. Here's what you guys think. Let me know what you actually think in the comments down below. Let's see the next one.